Well, the labor market kicked off the year with a major surge that was well ahead of predictions that growth may have been hampered by COVID. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says 467,000 new jobs were added last month. The unemployment rate stayed largely the same, rising by 0.1% to 4%. Labor force participation grew 62.2%, the highest level since March 2020. Economic experts were unsure what impact the Omicron variant would have in the first month of the new year. The Census Bureau says a record number, nearly 9 million people, called out sick in January. For more, I want to bring in Jared Bernstein. He's a member of the Council of Economic Advisors under the Biden administration. Jared, we thank you for joining us. Even Press Secretary Jen Psaki cautioned on Monday the jobs report may not be that positive. So are you surprised by the data? And what does this say about Omicron's impact on the economy?
Well, these monthly data reports can always give you an upside or a downside surprise, and this was certainly to the upside, which is one of the reasons why we at the Council of Economic Advisors and the whole White House team, we never overly focus on 1 month. We take trends over a few months, and if you do so, you very quickly discover that the president's American Rescue Plan is absolutely getting the jobs done. Through shots in arms, through checks in pockets, we have Americans back at work at a record-setting pace. 541,000 jobs over the past 3 months per average per month. 6.7 million jobs over the past year. That's an historical record. Put that on top of almost a 40-year pace of GDP growth, the unemployment rate falling faster than ever before on record, child poverty down by almost half last year. And we can see very clearly the fingerprints of the rescue plan helping people get back to work and pursue some very promising earnings opportunities.
Well, while the unemployment rate stayed largely the same in December, it remains high for Black Americans at nearly 7%. That's double the rate of white Americans. So why is it that that is occurring? And is there something the federal government can do to address it?
Yeah, very important point. The overall unemployment rate remains near historical lows, but there are various groups who have elevated rates, and we have to do everything we can to help in that regard. One of the best things we can do is something that's really ongoing here. My work as an economist before I got here was very much focused on this point that extremely tight labor markets, when you have job openings, almost 11 million job openings, that's a historical record, more job openings than unemployed, those benefits accrue disproportionately to people in bottom half of the pay scale. And in fact, if you look at the wage gains, you see this in today's report, for middle and low wage workers, they're up almost 7%. That's actually faster than the overall average because those gains disproportionately help those who are typically left behind. So a tight labor market, very important for these groups, but we have to do more. The labor market is it's necessary, it's not sufficient. And we have a wide range of policies in housing, in wealth accumulation, in education, child care, elder care, to help families of the types we're talking about get a better shot at capturing some of this growth.
You know, I don't know if you do the shopping in your home, but I do some of it. And I have to tell you that inflation remains a major concern for a lot of Americans who are seeing higher prices. And one example, not only in the supermarket, but we're seeing rising gas prices at the pump, which the president spoke about earlier. What's the message to Americans as the cost of necessary goods remains largely expensive?
Very important question again. You mentioned Americans concerned about inflation. Let me tell you one American, President Joe Biden, who has instructed his team, of which I'm a card-carrying member, to do everything we can to help ease inflationary pressures. Now, typically we think of the Federal Reserve as first and foremost implementing monetary policy to help pull back on these elevated inflationary prints. But we have our job to do too, and we're doing it. The ports, the ships, over the longer term, making sure that we have enough computer chips onshore so that we can build a domestic industry helping to ease some of the pressures of our automobile supply chains. Now, it's a good question as to what kind of impact these efforts that we're doing to help unsnarl supply chains are having. In fact, the amount of time that containers are spending in ports is down almost 60%. Ship to shelf is happening at a speedy rate. And in fact, if you look at the extent to which shelves are stocked, they're only 2 points below where they were pre-pandemic. So we are having the kind of impact that the president wants us to have. But we are not going to relent. We're not going to let up until it starts showing up and easing some of these consumer prices. Wages up, that's really important. But we also have to keep working to ease price pressures so real wage gains are more broadly shared.
And those supply chain problems just kind of roll the ball down the line or down the field, or whatever that expression is, Jared Bernstein. I'm sure you're well aware of it. We are looking to see those problems hopefully appeased in the next few months.
We are working on it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.